Mike Owens here. Today I'm joined by Caio Borralho, who's coming off one of the biggest wins of his career, UFC 301 versus Paul Craig. Caio, always a pleasure, my man. How are things with you today?
Yeah, I'm doing Mike. Always a pleasure for me too. I'm doing very good. Just getting everything back. I'm recovering from a disease. I've been 5 days in the hospital and everything, but everything is doing very good. I'm very happy with my performance, with the win and everything that's happening.
The guy comes out the hospital for 5 days and he's prepared to speak to me straight away. I love it. How are your emotions after such a big win, and has it sunken in what you did at UFC 301 at Rio de
The
Janeiro?
emotions were very good, brother. Like me and my team, we were very happy with our performance. We work very hard. We've been doing this work for several years, and now people actually now started to see my striking and everything that people didn't see yet. Yeah, so we were happy with that because people started to see that I'm a complete fighter, and we got Rufi that got a crazy debut too in the same day. We both got a bonus, so everybody's happy, everybody's with money in the pocket, so this is good for the team, for everyone, and for our career for sure.
I know that you fought a lot in Sao Paulo in your earlier on in your career. I know that's where you're from and where you live. But this was your first time fighting in Rio in the professional ranks. So what was the Rio experience like, and was it different to fighting back home in Sao Paulo?
Like it's almost the same feeling actually. Fighting Brazil is always the same, fighting Rio or São Paulo or anything it's like the same thing, but Rio is a little bit different because of the all the environment around the city, like is the city is kind of the mecca of
Mm.
MMA in Brazil, this is where the MMA started in Brazil. Then it was Jose Aldo was in the same card too, so it was very special, and we got three fighting heads fighting the same card. Unfortunately, Jean didn't got to get the fight.
Mm.
Shit happened, but we were with three guys from the same team in a pay-per-view card in Rio de Janeiro, in the same card as Jose Aldo. So everything was perfect.
Controversial question because there's no right answer to this one. But in your opinion, who is the greatest Brazilian fighter in MMA history?
Man, this is hard, man. Because it's hard to don't put my preference as a fighter, just how these guys win and everything. But I think Anderson Silva was one of the best. But in a matter of competition and how tough was the competition for the Brazilians, I think Jose Aldo is the greatest. Like he faced a tough competition since WEC. He faced a lot of really, really, really good athletes in all areas. So great wrestlers, great strikers, and great MMA, great grapplers, and he did what he did. I think he's one of the greatest for sure, man.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's talk about your performance. As I mentioned, you got that second round knockout over Paul Craig. Break your performance down for me. I'm sure you've had chance to watch it back. How do you assess your performance in the cage?
I think it was a perfect performance, like he got me with some kicks, but it was on purpose that I got the kicks, because he talking about his kicks. So he wanted me to get he wanted to get rid of me when he wanted to kick, he wanted me far away from him,
Mm.
but even when he got the kicks and when he hit me, I got a step forward, so I didn't give him his first thing that he wanted, that was to be away from me, so even getting me in the kicks, I was moving forward all the time. So his objective wasn't complete all the time. He was in confusion in his head.
Mm.
Uh, about his games, I knew we spent the entire camp training in the guard for sure. Like I had a lot of things to work on his guard and everything, but the main thing was not getting into the guard.
Mm.
And I was telling everybody that this was going to happen because he's gonna start to feel my hands, and he's gonna start to shoot for double legs and everything, but he wants to pull guard. That's what he wants. And I told everyone that are gonna be away from his guard and tell him to get up and knock him out, and that's what I did. I think the best thing is that I spent the entire training camp saying what was going to happen, and it happened exactly the way I was saying to the world, you know. So it was law of attraction, but it was hard work and a lot of studies, and I wasn't just like trying to say something. I was really meant in everything that I was saying. I was really studying. I was really training like this. So everything happened in a perfect way. I think it was a perfect performance. I knocked him out in the second round, as I said, and now people know that I can knock people out.
You predicted it the last time we spoke. You said there will come a time, and I quote, there will come a time in the fight when I get him with my right hook." And that was the first shot that kind of wobbles, and before that straight left really does the damage at the end. So why were you so confident specifically in that right hook shot?
Because I know I have a great right hook is a because I'm a southpaw,
Mm,
and when the guy comes with a straight hook or with a kick or anything, I can get him with the right hook,
mm,
is I'm very powerful in the small shots,
mm,
not long shots. I'm very powerful in the small shots, in the short distance shots, and I think it's one of my biggest weapon, the same right hook. I knocked the guy from the contender series in like halfway. So it was the same hook. So this is definitely a punch that I trained for years, and now we're starting to get there, like
mm.
I think I was forcing that much this punch in all my fights. But now I am more calm and more in short distance, in the right distance to do this punch, and I think now is the time that you guys gonna start to see me getting people down with my right hook, a lot more times.
There was also a point I wanted to bring you back from our initial chat because we talked about Paul's face paint and how he comes out with the Scottish colours on his face, and you said I have something planned to counteract that, and you come out in the Brazilian colours. Why was that was that important to show your country, to show where you're from, or was that just to match his intensity in a similar way?
Yeah, for sure. Like I didn't want him to be comfortable in my country. He was in my house, in my country, my jungle. And he wasn't supposed to be comfortable right there. I was supposed to be comfortable. Every time that he came with the face paint, I know that he gets comfortable. He gets like confident and everything. But he didn't even imagine that I was going to do this. Like it was something that I was like one day before, I was like, man, I need to paint my face. I need to know what am I gonna do? I wanted to do a Brazilian flag in my face, but I think the way that my wife did, actually, my wife is the one that
Oh
painted to
wow.
me. So I think that way was better than I thought, because it was more like a war face, a
Mm,
war paint, just for him to know that he was coming I was coming for war. I'm not coming here just to fight. You in my territory, you in my place, and you really really gonna need to dig deep if he wants to win from me in my hometown. So that's the message that I wanted to pass to him by painting the face. And for sure there was a message that I wanted to pass to all the crowd, to everybody. People was crazy when people saw my face painted. I think it was the first time that a Brazilian ever did it, and it was amazing. I love it.
me too. This is your first KO in the UFC, your first knockout. I know you've had others on the regional scene, as you mentioned, you had one on the contenders, but it really feels like people are starting to respect your striking. Do you feel like you're maybe still slept in that area, or do you feel like people are starting to go, KO's not just a grappler, this man can strike at a very high level too?
Yeah, for sure. I think the guys that are high level guys, they already know that my striking is not a joke. Like my distance control is something that is not everybody not just in the rooster, not just in the middleweight division, but I think in the all UFC, my distance control is something that people don't usually see.
Yeah.
And people that are good, actually, that know MMA, that know when you see a good guy, they really know that I'm a good guy, like they really know that I have the abilities to be world champion. I have the ability to be a phenomenal striker and a complete fighter. But people actually just saw my grappling in my wrestling skills. I was telling in my last interview that I had the best double leg in the UFC and everything. So people start to sleep on my striking a little bit.
Mm,
But I think I did some management in my training camps. I did I'm starting to not just use my distance control, but I'm using short distance control. I'm getting close to the guys, and I'm putting some angles in my body that I don't get hit that much. Even with my fight with Abus, I was in the start of the second round, I was in short distance all the time, and he didn't got me with any punch. I think there's my sixth fight in the UFC, and I got punched in the face like one or two times.
Mm,
So this is not something that people usually see, and the level of competition that I'm facing, and I'm not getting busted up in the fight. The fight is not all my fights are not even competitive. I think
mm,
the only fight that was a little bit competitive was against Muradov, but I
mm,
had teared my thumb, but I couldn't punch with my left hand. Everybody know that I'm southpaw, so
mm,
people don't usually know that shit. I went out from the fight straight to the surgery in the next week, and I did surgery on my thumb, because I
mm.
couldn't punch with my left hand. So now people started to see, like how good I am, how my striking is, and for sure people are going to start to respect more my striking for sure, in me as a complete fighter. They already respect me as a grappler. They already know that I'm a high level grappler. I dominated Dagestani guys. I dominated, guys that were really good at grappling. And now I'm dominating guys in striking. And my fights are not even competitive. All my fights, I think I lost only one round. It was against Muradov, and two judges gave me 30-27, and one gave me 29-28. So for sure, people are going to start to realize that, and respect me more.
So let's look to the future. I mean, you called out Jared Cannonier in the cage. He's maxed up in a couple of weeks' time against Imavov. So when would you like to fight next? And if it's not Jared Cannonier, or depending on how that fight goes, do you have another name that you're targeting at this moment in time?
Yeah, I think another name that I can fight. I heard that Dolidze called my name,
Mm,
but actually I don't think he called my name. It was just the fight that UFC offered him. As soon as I got out of the octagon, my manager came to me already like, oh, they want you to fight against Imavov in like 4 weeks. Against Imavov, sorry, against Dolidze in like 4 weeks.
yeah.
I was like, man, I'm dealing with my ankle problems for like a year. I have no ligaments in my ankle. You see the guys taking the tape off my ankle when I was into the fight.
Mm.
I spent some time, the guys cut the tape and everything. So I wanted to fight like around September, October. I think I would already did my all my strengthening and everything that I need to do on my ankle, because my style is always bouncing in and out. I'm always in the tip of my on my toes, on my back foot all the time. So I need my ligaments to be there. I need my muscles from my leg and my ankle to be strong enough. So I can really do my game. I could right now in this level of competition, top 10 and everything. I don't think I can manage to go into a fight with this kind of injury. Like couldn't like cannot not stay on my toes, not stay with my balance in the right way. So I think September, October is the perfect date for me. I think makes sense in my career. And if it's not like Imavov or Cannonier, they're gonna fight. I think Hermansson is a guy that makes really sense. I think he's a very great guy, great grappler, great striker. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I respect him a lot. No bad blood between us and anything. Just a lot of respect. But I think to my career, I think it's a great test for me. I think he's number 9 or number 10, around number 8, I don't know. And I think he's on my way, on my path, the way that I'm doing, the level of competition that I'm facing, and the style of the guys that I'm facing. I think it makes sense to be Hermso.
There was a guy who you called out who now has the world championship belt, a guy who said you want his head in Dricus Du Plessis. How do you see his fight with Adesanya playing out? That's rumored for September in Perth. How do you see that one playing out? And are you surprised that Izzy is getting the title fight coming off the Sean Strickland loss?
Uh, you know, I didn't, I wasn't like expecting that, because Adesanya is coming from a loss and now he's gonna get the title shot. It's
Mm,
crazy. But I don't think that there's a lot of things in the UFC that make sense. They know how to make fights, they know how to sell fights, and it's all about that, entertaining, all about selling fights. Paulo Costa is getting Sean Strickland after getting one win in his last four fights.
mm,
And now he lost to Whittaker. Now he's fighting Sean Strickland, the number one contender. If
mm,
he wins Sean Strickland, he's going to the belt. So
mm.
it doesn't make that much sense. But I'm not here to tell what UFC needs to do. I think UFC know how to do this game. They know how to do everything they're doing. That's why they are a big company. That's why they are who they are. So I'm just here to fight. So I was little surprised, but I don't think Dricus Du Plessis could match the style with Adesanya. His style is coming forward all the time, but just going straight all the time. And I think Adesanya can circle, can pick him up apart in a matter of striking. So I think maybe Adesanya can get back to be a champion.
Crazy. And the other big fight that I wanted to get your thoughts on, because this is a guy that I know that you've spent some time in the training room with, Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker. How do you see this fight playing out? Because it is a huge fight in the division, and I know that, as I say, you spent some time in the room with Chimaev. So what can you tell us about him?
Yeah, I think this fight is all about Chimaev. I think if he's with his mindset right in everything,
Mm,
injury, everything in the 185, then not have to cut a lot of weight. I think it's a great fight for him. I don't think Whittaker wrestling is even close to Khamzat wrestling, but I think Adesanya is a bigger guy. And Adesanya, sorry, I think Hamza is a bigger guy. I think he is in a good shape. I think he's even his striking. I think he can strike with Rob. Just because Rob is not in his prime anymore, even though he won from Borrachinha, but I think he's in a with all the respect, but he's a kind of decline. I don't think he has the same hunger, the same something that was driving him to be a champion, to be one
mm,
of the best in the world. I just think he's just fighting, make money, get his family good, and I think to this kind of level competition, I don't think is this is the all that we need. I think we need more. We need to be hungry. We need to
mm.
be wanted to be the best in the world, wanted to blood. So I don't think he can match the style with Hamza. I don't think physically and technically he can match the style with Hamza, and I think it's gonna be I couldn't say easy, but it's gonna be a good win for Hamza for sure.
We'll turn the conversation back to yourself for this last question. We're at the end of May 2024 now. Caio, where are you in the next 12-month period? What would you like to accomplish over the next year in your career?
Uh, for sure, I think in May for the next year, I would be one of the title contenders, because I think I can fight two more times until there, and two, maybe three more times until there, get two or three more victories. So I will be with nine straight victories or eight straight victories in this division. So that is gonna be talking about title contender, like a real guy, a real prospect that is complete and can be a world champion. And I always said since my first fight in the UFC that by the end of 2025, I would be the champion. So that's the way I see myself. Not with the belt in May. I don't think I'm gonna have the belt in May, but for sure I'm gonna be one of the title contenders and ready to go whatever the UFC put me.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, make sure to place that bet because when Caio predicts things on my show, they generally come true. Caio, it's always a pleasure catching up, my man. It was great to see you get that big win, and I'm really really glad that we caught up, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon, my
Thank
man.
you. Thank you so much, Mike. Mike, always good to be here, and we'll be talking soon with the belt right here in my
I look
shoulder. We'll be talking soon. I'm not gonna forget to get you, brother. Thank you so much for the space, for everything, and to the kind words and everything that you say about me. Thank you so much, brother.